Crooks and Millionaires. Anybody like that title? I just thought of that on the spot. Crooks and Millionaires. Crooks and Millionaires. That's kind of, I can't even give the idea of what I'm speaking on. I'm gonna just leave that alone. But yeah, so like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. I help retitle shows for Discovery. Who didn't know that sort of thing? And no, not right here on the YouTube. Not on the YouTube playground or YouTube playing field. No, in real life. That's why I just threw that joke in when I said Crooks and Millionaires being a cool title for a TV show. In fact, is. Sometimes I throw my ideals out there. If I was on this camera all day saying all type of things, you the viewer will be able to see my expression of the level of creativity I possess and have. My thinking capabilities is off the chamber, is what I'm trying to say. And me coming up with ideals on the spot, or even as I'm just walking, I randomly come up with ideals, sometimes with not even thinking. As in, I will put two words together that don't go together, and yet is able to, yes, create a TV show in the form of you helping Discovery or whoever else to rename shows and all the rest with that sort of thing. That's in fact a true statement. I think crooks and millionaires, criminals. No, I'm just playing. With that sort of thing, it helps to be honest in life, in real life, as in telling what you can do. Because there's a flawed system out here that even needs to be fixed, as in when you do things and you watch things and it don't look right and it needs to be better. Helps to be an example, as in calling it out, what needs to be fixed. Hell, there'd be a lot of things that need to be fixed. Even this screen that I'm on needs to be fixed, right? And yet, with business corporations and all the rest, to be a problem solver is to do that sort of thing. Fix those sort of situations, as in help to fix with that type of thing. Because just because a business is running something don't mean that they know everything. That's why human beings are a part of a business. A business can't run itself without humans. But more so, it can't run itself without talented people helping in the process with that. You always should want to go for the most talented people in business when you need help renaming and titling shows and doing stuff. I don't really do creative titling here on YouTube. I don't do that sort of thing. I'd rather just continue to use that off with Discovery, is what I'm trying to say, because it just makes better sense that, well, you know, I shouldn't put this on here. This needs to go over there. That's only wise with that, right? But yeah, let me get to this. Six-year-old raps. That's in fact a backstory. That's what I just told you from my own end to you, the viewers, being a college graduate and all the rest, right? That's a backstory. That's what you call a backstory, right? So a 6-year-old wrapped seatbelt around 1-year-old brother's head out of anger. Some might say, well, who does that? A baby strangulation, and yet to be 6 years old and to wrap a seatbelt around a 1-year-old brother's head is to say, why? The why is because there was anger there, right? So Houston, Texas on May 20th, 26-year-old Adrian Drashawn Middleton drove over to Family Thrift Center. It's in the photo. With his 2 kids in the car. The kids, ages 6 years old, a female, and 1 year old, a male. Middleton gave the 2 kids Cheetos. He gave them Cheetos chips along with water. And he also put a movie in while they were in the vehicle, because he was going in to come back out, and yet he took a little bit too long, which is how this baby strangulation situation in fact occurred. To go in the store too long is to say, well, what is going to be the end result in that? So he gave the 2 kids Cheetos, some water, and put a movie in so that they could be entertained in the car until he returned. He also turned the air conditioner on to prevent the kids from overheating while they sat and waited, right? While he was in the store, Middleton, this man I'm speaking on, while he was in the store and away from the car, the 1-year-old began crying. That's what 1-year-old kids do. And yet, to cry too much is to make a 6-year-old become frustrated. Hell, even adults do that. That's how you have That's how you have where shaken baby syndrome and all the rest, right? When I spoke about that in one of my last videos, right? So the 1-year-old began crying, and the sister of the 1-year-old played with him here and there to get him to stop crying. And yet, after she did that, the 1-year-old began to cry again. The incident. Court documents showed that the 6-year-old wrapped the seatbelt around her brother's neck out of anger. The crying of that 1-year-old met that situation. She became frustrated with not being able to stop him from crying. This 6-year-old sister of the 1-year-old that she killed, in a sense you can say by accident, because to not know what you're fully doing. And yes, some 6-year-olds do have a mindset, and I'm thinking to be 6 years old is to hold the mental capabilities and not really understanding what you're fully doing. And yet you do have what some would say demon possessed children or evil children, right, that do kill. And yet I don't think this was one of those situations. She more than likely was just venting anger. She told the police officers he stopped crying and she thought that he was asleep. She told them after she did what she did, right? She didn't say it like that. She basically said he stopped crying after she did that. I still think and guess and sense and believe that this 6-year-old didn't really know what she was doing. She did after it was over, when she told her daddy I did something bad, and then she asked him, well, can I go to the bathroom, after he returned back to the car. But I'm thinking her standing in front of police officers, I can guess and sense believe this 6-year-old didn't really know what she was doing. Because if she did, she would have said more to police officers to either try to take the focus off herself, or to make herself, not appear. Something more would have been said from that little girl to show that she was more evil or something. So once again, she told the officers he stopped crying and she thought he was asleep. Now somebody can say, well, she might have felt guilty in that, and to be that young, she could have been evil and try to do attention diversion by taking the focus off of herself while talking to police and them questioning her, right? But I don't think, because you do have psychopathic children as well, as in they're born that way. This story can point in all type of directions, even in the child's mindset of reading her mind further. An elaboration, I'm saying, and looking at her, even if she was to say be taken to court, and which she wasn't charged because of her age, right? But you can run rings of circles around even that 6-year-old little girl and questioning her just enough to see if she's psychopathic or something, to want to kill that 1-year-old brother. She just was frustrated. So once Middleton went back to the car, the daddy of the 2 children, once he went back to the car, his daughter told him she had something. She told what I just said, because I said that already. I mentioned that. Once he returned to the car, she told him she had did something bad, and she said that she needed to go to the bathroom. So she basically let him know. A more evilish child more than likely possibly would have not said anything. Trusting to believe a psychopathic child wouldn't have admitted to their parent. They would have just possibly, it depends on the situation, possibly would have just killed their brother and let that be that, and then stared the father in the face, and more than likely the police officers, and just said, well, I don't know what happened. That's true. That's completely true. Psychopaths don't have emotions like average everyday people, or whatever you want to call it. Not in the same realm, right? Middleton noticed the seatbelt around his son's neck, and that's another thing. If this little girl was more evil and had psychopathic tendencies, she more than likely would have unwrapped. I can see that. She would have unwrapped the seatbelt from around her brother's neck and just put the seatbelt down back on the seat or even on the floor or something, despite it being attached to the seat, to make it look like she had nothing. Evil children know what they're doing. I can't see this child as being evil in that type of way. I just can't see, because see, even the seatbelt stain wrapped around a 1-year-old's neck, and the father coming back, and a 6-year-old knowing that he's coming back to the car, as on his way soon enough, a real psychopathic child will want to put that sort of thing away, as in the game and the mess with that, in the cleanup, as in, well, let me unravel this seatbelt around my brother's neck. That way the signs ain't telling on who did what, such as me being his sister. That way I can't get in trouble for killing my brother, right? Yeah, she would have removed that seatbelt around his neck, and yet she left it there. So what does that tell you? An innocent child, once again frustrated by crying of a brother. Stuff like that do play out. You just don't hear about it all like that a lot on the news. Or maybe you do if you watch the TV 24 hours a day, right? And so Middleton noticed the seatbelt around his son's neck. He then called 911, and then he tried CPR on the 1-year-old. But in the end, at Texas Children's Hospital, that's where the child was pronounced dead. That 1-year-old was pronounced dead. And Middleton tried to lie and say that he was only in the store for 30 or 40 minutes. That's what he tried to lie and tell police. I was only in the store for 30 or 40 minutes while I left the kids waiting. That's still too long. 15 minutes is too long, especially for a 6 and 1-year-old. And I say that because at any time, children that age are known to play around and could want to play around the car. And remember, you're in a parking lot with people that don't respect other people's driving out on the street. So why would they respect your child playing in a parking lot? If either one of them wanted to unlock the door. See what I'm saying? My mind goes everywhere, and being able to see. Why would you leave your kid in the car for 30 to 45 minutes despite him? He lied about that. He left the kids in the car longer than that, for over an hour and a half long, right? But there's people out here in the streets that don't even respect your own driving, as in they cut you off in traffic, and yet you're a grown adult operating a vehicle yourself. They disrespect you, cut you off, almost smash into you, which means if you leave your kids out in the car at 6 and 1 years old, they might in fact want to get outside of the car and see the parking lot as a playground and be running all through the parking lot, which is why you should never leave your kids in the car for no longer than 10 minutes. Even that's pushing it. 7 minutes is pushing it, right? And so he said he periodically checked on them. He said he periodically checked on the two kids through the storefront window, and both kids were strapped in their car seats. And yet even that was a lie. Middleton's lie hit him in the face when investigators noticed no car seats were in the car. Middleton once again also lied about how long he had been in the store, and I said that. He wasn't in the store for 30 or 45 minutes. No, he was in the store for 1 hour and 40 minutes. And how police found that out was the surveillance tape picked that up. They picked him up doing that. And not only that, he never checked on them while they were in the car for 1 hour and 40 minutes because the surveillance tape once again picked that up. And that once did show him going to the storefront window and looking in and out, periodically checking checking on them while he was in the store. Not once did the surveillance tape show that activity, right? And so the baby's death was ruled a homicide by strangulation. And in saying that, the brother of Middleton feels the baby's death was nothing more than an accident. And I feel the same way. Prosecutors feel Middleton put his two kids in harm's way, which leads to him facing a felony charge of abandoning let me rewind that right quick. Prosecutors feel Middleton put his two kids in harm's way, which leads to him facing a felony charge of abandoning a child. That just has to be faced because that's too long. And yet males don't pay attention more so than, say, females would. Because females are more emotional. They would think, oh, there's no way I'm leaving my kid in no car for 1 hour and 40 minutes. depending on their mindset and depending on maybe how they were raised, the females I'm saying. You got many men who wouldn't do that. Leave no kids in no car for no hour and 40 minutes. Especially a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. They'd be all over the parking lot thinking it's a playground and all that. And possibly a jumping gym. You don't know what child would try to be, especially the 6-year-old. Climbing up on the car and not paying attention to her brother while the car doors open and her brother running down the parking lot. And then next thing you know, somebody fly and hit the kid, and then it's over. Somebody smash the hood of their car or the grill of their car right into a 1-year-old's face, right in the center of the parking lot. That's to say that the child possibly was going to die anyway or something. I could have seen that. I wonder what the temperature was outside. Because to say that the air conditioner was running is to say, well, it had to be hot. So that's why, yeah, because I said he left the air conditioner running, which means it was hot outside. So that is in fact abandonment and endangerment, which is why he's in fact facing that charge of abandoning a child. You see what I'm saying? I'm able to see this at all angles. I'm able to see this at three angles. Either the kids would have been out in the parking lot and one of them would have got struck and killed, more than likely that 1-year-old, while the 6-year-old ain't paying attention, just opening up the car door playing, right? Struck and killed by a car. Or say the car could have had clonked out. Some cars cut off manually, as in they cut them own cells off, and then you got a car like that the air conditioning is running, and say what if the power would have all shut off, then the kids would have been in that car and trapped by heat. And to be in Texas of all places, Houston, Texas of all places, right? They would have been scorched alive is what I'm trying to say. So that's another thing. And then to have the baby strangled, that's 3 directions I just led you to. The possibilities of outcome. This would have never been a good outcome in the end. And yet if it would have been, it would have been a sign of luck, I'm saying. How they say, well, miracles happen. That's what my mom be saying. A miracle would have happened, and yet this situation is telling me the outcome wouldn't have been so good. Because of the timing factor. An hour and 40 minutes. So end results, the 6-year-old can't be tried in court for murder because of her age. And her grandmother has become her guardian. Her grandmother is in fact caring for the young 6-year-old. And maybe she needs to be, because to be a male and not know what you're doing, that's to not say completely negligent, and yet some of these grown men don't even know how to take care of kids, which is why they shouldn't have them, right? That just needs to be said. Because now how do you live with yourself knowing that you'll not only... See, that's like a double tragedy as it's happening. What I'm speaking on. How do you live with yourself? Well, it's a third tragedy. Because now not only do you got to face charges, now you got to face yourself with that your 1-year-old is dead and gone and ain't coming back. But also you got to face yourself in the guilt of where your daughter can be perceived as a killer. That's 3 things. How do you live with that? I don't even know. Dear viewer, leave a comment in the comment section. I'll get to it with that sort of thing. Do you know anybody that type of situation has happened to? Close to the family or distant or whatnot? Because these sort of things, in fact, represent real life. It just needs to be said. So we're on investigationdiscovery.com. The logo, ID logo, sits in the far left corner. Live now, Deadly Women. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Paula. A description sits here. Add to favorites is to click the plus sign. Either one of these will in fact meet you and greet you if you come on here. Unlocked episodes, Code Valley, Season 1, Episode 1. To click the play button is to be meted and greeted with an audio-visual presentation of what's behind here. Add to watch later is to click the plus sign. On last night, Same thing, except for there's multiple locks and keys to gain access to provide your provider, as in who you're with, for an exclusive preview of that sort of thing, right? Unlock series. ID Go original series. Shouts out to Lieutenant Joe Kenda. I always have to make a shout out to him because he's the man. In demand of solving crimes. To say 92% is a high percentage, right? Crime Feed News, crimefeed.com. The click right within here is to be directed and guided on the outside to crimefeed.com. Latest and greatest with the tragedy with that Florida crazy news can be greeting your eyes. To receive a newsletter is to type your email address in and click next right here in the box. And you would in fact receive a newsletter from Discovery. But yes, the Crime Feed. Crime Feed News. Crimefeed.com with all the latest and greatest murder, mystery, and mayhem, right? Florida news. When I said it can in fact meet your eyes, that's in fact a true statement. Some of the most weirdest, quirkiest news that goes down in Florida can be found right on Discovery's Crime Feed. Baby killers, such as the mother's parents. I spoke on that on one of my other videos, past videos. It's all type of thing. John Benet Ramsey case, Bill Cosby, People Magazine investigates. It's all the goods of the goods. Helps to take a good look with that. So I think I'm gone for now, and I'll be back.